The Uncharted series is amazing. Action-packed adventures in the same vein as Indiana Jones' escapades, taking necessary steps to revolutionize the tomb raiding scavengers of Tomb Raider, while also bringing a little bit of more heart into the narrative. The Uncharted games are about raiding lost settlements, collecting priceless artifacts, and discovering ancient mysteries buried in the depths of history, yes, but underneath that surface layer lies something even more meaningful. Something that sometimes you can't even put into words. Uncharted is about family, and through the main character's eyes we get to experience how far one man can and should go before they not only change their life for the better, but realize the greatest treasures are not the ones you can hold.
What a warm and homey place, huh?
Well, not quite what you were expecting, huh?
Yeah. Where's all the damn gold?
This place was picked clean centuries ago.
No good limey pirate.
No, it wasn't Drake. Check this out.
Before I ever set foot in the crumbling ruins or traded bullets with mercenaries in exotic corners of the world, I was racing through jungle levels with a spinning Bandicoot and exploring wild sci-fi landscapes with a loudmouth Ottsel. Naughty Dog has always been a part of my gaming life, from the chaotic fun of Crash Bandicoot to the bold world-building adventure of Jak and Daxter. But in 2007, they took a sharp turn. A new era began, not just for the studio, but for storytelling and games. With Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Naughty Dog traded cartoon worlds for cinematic realism, setting the stage for one of the most iconic action-adventure franchises of all time.
Here it is. Which means... Let me use your back. Which means... the entrance to Shambhala must be right here.
So, we did it.
We did it. Yes. We did it.
The PS3 released on November 17th of 2006 in North America, but I wouldn't actually get one until my birthday in September the following year. I was playing and loving MotorStorm, Resistance Fall of Man, and The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Even though I was having so much fun with what I had, I was anticipating the next game from Naughty Dog. I still remember when I finally got my hands on the game when it came out on November 19th. It felt surreal. The next game from the studio that has made some of my favorite games. As soon as I popped that disc in, I knew I was in for a wild ride.
I am here off the coast of Panama where we just recovered what we believe to be the coffin of legendary explorer Sir Francis Drake, who was buried at sea over 400 years ago. Are you sure you want to be defiling your ancestors' remains like that?
You make it sound so dirty.
The story of Uncharted Drake's Fortune kicks off with Nathan Drake recovering a mysterious coffin at sea. Allegedly that of his ancestor, the famous explorer Sir Francis Drake. But instead of bones, he finds a clue that sparks a globetrotting hunt for the lost treasure of El Dorado. What follows is a roller coaster of danger, betrayal, and ancient mystery, as Drake teams up with journalist Elena Fisher and his mentor Victor Sullivan, or Sully for short. From dense jungles and collapsing ruins, to hidden Nazi bunkers and cursed secrets, the journey is packed with twists that blend old-school adventure with supernatural intrigue. It's a story that knows when to be playful, when to be tense, and when to hit you with moments of real emotion. And at its core, it's not just about treasure, it's about trust, legacy, and what it really means to be a hero.
All right, you got me, fair and square.
Hey, don't move.
Relax, Eddie. Just getting the map like you asked. I said, hold on.
I am.
Well, hand it over.
Well now, you told me not to move. Looks like you're gonna have to come get it.
Hey, come on.
When Uncharted Drake's Fortune first hit the scene, it felt like something completely fresh in the gaming world. This wasn't just another third-person shooter, it was a dynamic cinematic adventure that pulled you in from the very first moment. The story had this classic treasure hunting vibe, like a modern-day Indiana Jones, but with a tone and character depth that grounded it. What stood out instantly was how alive everything felt. Characters didn't just wait for cutscenes to speak, they talked during gunfights, during climbs, and even while just walking through the jungle. Their movements felt fluid and real. When Drake fell into water, his clothes got wet. When sun broke through the canopy, the lighting shimmered across leaves and skin in a way that felt magical for the time.
Oh, man. This is like trying to find a bride in a brothel.
The gameplay was tight and responsive, with a cover system that made combat feel strategic but smooth. You would go from climbing ancient ruins to intense shootouts to puzzle solving without ever breaking the flow. It had a surprising variety that kept things feeling fresh from start to finish. The environments were lush, the graphics were jaw-dropping for 2007, and the voice acting was top tier. Nolan North brought Nathan Drake to life in a way we hadn't really seen in games before, and the chemistry between the entire cast, Elena, Sully, Navarro, made the journey feel personal. There was heart in this game, real heart. You could feel the love the developers poured into every moment.
Remind me again why you employed that superstitious idiot?
You wanted someone cheap.
Well, you get what you pay for, I suppose.
And I was hooked. I didn't just play Uncharted, I lived in it. I spent countless hours running through that game, finishing it over and over. I beat it on every difficulty, unlocked all the secrets, experimented with every outfit, every weapon, and every silly or cool unlockable they gave us. I replayed it on different accounts from scratch, and when trophies were finally patched into the game in August of 2008, I was back in it hunting every last one down. Then came the remasters, the PS4 version, the Legacy of Thieves collection. I played and platinumed every version. Every re-release was just another excuse to revisit this world I fell in love with.
The craftsmanship. I've never seen anything like it before.
That is only a shell. The real treasure of El Dorado lies inside. Open it!
Naughty Dog refined what I thought games could be. I instantly fell in love with their new direction, and looking back, Drake's Fortune wasn't just the start of Nathan Drake's journey, it was the beginning of one of the most memorable gaming experiences of my life.
What's going on? That's my blood. That's my blood. It's a lot of my blood.
The story of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves raised the stakes in every way, pulling Nathan Drake back into the world of ancient mysteries and dangerous alliances. This time, the legend of the Chintamonte Stone and Marco Polo's doomed voyage became the backdrop for an even more personal and perilous journey. Hired by a shady ex-ally, Drake is pulled into a globe-spanning chase across Istanbul, Borneo, Nepal, and the Himalayas, one that quickly spirals into betrayal, war, and myth. Along the way, he reconnects with Elena, partners up with the fierce and unpredictable Chloe Frazier, and finds himself face to face with the merciless warlord Zoran Larzovich. The narrative weaves moments of quiet intimacy with explosive action, challenging Drake not just to survive, but to question who he is when stripped of the chase. With every twist, the story builds toward a climax that's as emotionally resonant as it is visually spectacular, solidifying Uncharted 2 as a masterclass in game storytelling.
Oh, what's next?
You still doing this?
If Drake's Fortune was a promising first step, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves was a full-on sprint into greatness. From the opening scene, with Drake bleeding and unconscious inside a derailed train hanging off a Himalayan cliff, you knew this wasn't just a sequel, it was a statement. Naughty Dog had leveled up in every way imaginable. The storytelling became tighter, the action more explosive, and the set pieces more unforgettable. The journey took us from war-torn streets of Nepal to ancient temples, icy mountain villages, and eventually the fabled city of Shambhala, all while unraveling a myth tied to Marco Polo's lost fleet. It felt like playing a blockbuster film, but with a level of interactivity and heart that no movie could match.
So, how do you plan on getting her off that speeding train?
Haven't thought that far ahead.
Of course not.
Okay, here we go.
No, hold on, hold on. You're almost there. Just... Now! Jump!
What stood out most was how seamlessly everything blended together. There were little to no loading screens, no jarring transitions, just one fluid adventure. The pacing was near perfect, balancing shootouts, puzzles, and character-driven moments with jaw-dropping action sequences, like the collapsing building, the moving train level, and the final showdown in the Tree of Life. The visuals pushed the PS3 to its limits, with stunning lighting, animations, and environments that still hold up today. And the characters, new and returning, elevated the whole experience. Chloe Frazer was introduced as a confident, unpredictable foil to Drake, while Elena returned with even more depth and emotional weight. Sully, as always, grounded everything with humor and wisdom. But what really hit home was how the game deepened Drake as a character. It forced him to reckon with the consequences of his choices, and what lines he might cross in the name of adventure.
We work together!
Outside of the campaign though, Uncharted 2 became something even more for me. It became a competitive obsession. The multiplayer was fast, fluid, and unlike anything else at the time. It took the same mechanics and cinematic flair from the story mode and turned them into a high-stakes skill-based battleground. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm a gamer. That's just my thing. I got really good. Like really good. I climbed the ranks fast, and soon enough, I was one of those names people would recognize when the match started. I wasn't just some random player, I was part of a top-tier clan. We had real presence. We'd land top 10 plays, pull off ridiculous highlight clips, and get featured in community videos all the time. It felt like being part of something bigger, a golden era of online gaming where every match was a memory and every win was electric. Uncharted 2's multiplayer wasn't just a side mode to me, it was a lifestyle. And those late nights grinding with my crew were some of the best times I've ever had with a controller in my hands.
Do not let this happen again!
I played Uncharted 2 obsessively. It became one of those games I thought about even when I wasn't playing it. Replaying chapters just to relive the spectacle, unlocking new skins and tweaks, challenging myself on brutal difficulty, and soaking in every line of dialogue. It was inspiring. Naughty Dog had taken everything that made Uncharted special and turned it into something iconic. Not only was this one of the best games of its generation, it was one of the best games ever made. And somehow, the journey was only just beginning. The story of Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, set out to dig deeper into who Nathan Drake really is. His past, his motivations, and the cost of a life lived on the edge of danger. This time, the adventure centered around the lost city of Ubar, the Atlantis of the Sands, tying into historical figures like T.E. Lawrence and further exploring Sir Francis Drake's mysterious final voyage. The narrative brought us some unforgettable moments. Drake wandering a vast desert alone, a thrilling pub brawl in London, and a massive cruise ship level that felt like a disaster movie unfolding in real time. But while Uncharted 3 delivered big on spectacle and technical prowess, it also felt different, even unfinished. Plot threads like the significance of the spiders or the true purpose of Marlowe's secret organization seemed to vanish as quickly as they were introduced. The climax lacked the emotional punch of Uncharted 2, gameplay tweaks felt off, and some story beats felt like recycled echoes of earlier games, without the same weight. The heart was still there, the characters were still strong, but the overall arc didn't land as cleanly.
What is that?
Oh my god, what the hell? Stay in the light. Get it, quickly.
Get him up there! Get him up there! Your torch seems to be dying out. Good luck with that.
God, what a dick, right?
Despite its flaws, I still dove into Uncharted 3 the way I always do, with full commitment. I played through the campaign multiple times, taking in every set piece and wringing out every last collectible. The technical achievements were undeniable. The desert sequences, the sinking cruise ship, the collapsing chateau, all of it was breathtaking. Naughty Dog clearly pushed the PlayStation 3 to its limits yet again, and the cinematic direction was some of their best work. I appreciated the more personal lens on Drake's backstory, and there were moments, like the flashback to young Nathan and his first encounter with Sully, that gave the game real emotional weight. But for all of its high points, Uncharted 3 never settled into the same place in my heart as the first two. I could feel the unevenness in the pacing, the unresolved plot threads, and a sense that some of its ideas were bigger than the time they had to develop them. It was still an incredible game, but for the first time, I didn't feel the need to replay it endlessly. I finished it, respected it, and even enjoyed parts deeply, but the obsession wasn't there. The real divide happened when I tried out the multiplayer. I gave it a shot, I really did. But from the first few matches, something just felt off. The mechanics were different. The aiming, the movement, the overall flow of combat had changed in subtle but crucial ways. For someone who had mastered Uncharted 2's multiplayer down to muscle memory, this felt like trying to run through knee-deep water. And while many players embraced the new features and upgrades, it just didn't click with me. The magic was gone. I didn't grind ranks, didn't chase down unlocks, and eventually just walked away. I barely touched it after those early matches. In a way, it made me appreciate Uncharted 2 even more. It showed me just how perfectly balanced that experience really was. Uncharted 3 was a visual and technical achievement, no doubt, but for the first time in the series, I felt like a spectator instead of a participant.
These twits don't stand a chance. Set down, KO!
Looking back on the original trilogy, I think what made it so special was how it mirrored a full character arc, for both Nathan Drake and me as a player. Uncharted 1 was the introduction, exciting, raw, and full of potential. Uncharted 2 was the peak, a near-perfect balance of storytelling, mechanics, and emotion. Uncharted 3 felt like an introspective pause, ambitious in scope but a little unsure of itself. Each game built on the last, but also reflected where Naughty Dog, and maybe even gaming as a whole, was at the time. It was a ride I felt lucky to be on, especially watching it unfold in real time. But after Uncharted 3, there was this moment of silence. A chapter had closed. The trilogy was over, but the Uncharted universe wasn't. During that in-between time, we got Uncharted Golden Abyss on the PlayStation Vita. It was a full-on prequel set before Drake's fortune, and focused on Drake's journey into the depths of a lost Central American city tied to a deadly secret. It had all the right ingredients on paper, shootouts, platforming, and puzzles, but it didn't quite hit the same. Don't get me wrong, for a handheld game, it was technically impressive and had some cool set pieces. I owned it and played through it, and it was fun, but it leaned heavily into the Vita's touchscreen and motion gimmicks, swiping to clean relics, tilting to balance, tapping to solve puzzles, and for me, that broke the immersion. The vibe of Uncharted wasn't gone, but it felt distant, like a side story I was only half invested in. It was cool for what it was, but it didn't leave a lasting mark.
Don't dig up anything without me. You got it? I got my eye on you two.
So it's El Generale's army that's headed into the rainforest.
He's not a general anymore.
Tell that to his goddamn army.
Then there was Uncharted Fight for Fortune, a digital card game spin-off that was definitely a game that existed. It tried to reimagine Uncharted as a strategic card battler, and while it had its moments, it didn't stick with me the way the core titles did. It felt more like a novelty than a necessary piece of the puzzle. On the other hand, Uncharted Fortune Hunter, the mobile puzzle game, was a surprisingly clever little gem. You played as a cartoon-style Drake, solving grid-based treasure puzzles across dozens of levels. It wasn't trying to be a full Uncharted experience, but what it did well. And completing it 100% actually rewarded you with a cosmetic hat for Uncharted 4's multiplayer, which I'll admit was a pretty fun incentive. It wasn't a main course, but it was a great little snack between games. So yeah, after Uncharted 3, it felt like the series was both everywhere and nowhere. There were spin-offs, prequels, and side games, but the real question lingered. What was next for Nathan Drake? Where did this story go after everything we'd seen? I didn't know what to expect, but I knew one thing for sure. If Naughty Dog was coming back to Uncharted, I'd be there for it, day one, no hesitation.
So, what do you think?
It's a lot to take in, kid. Where do I even start? You've been out of the game for a long time. Or maybe I need to remind you the kind of people we'd be crossing here.
When Uncharted 4: A Thief's End was revealed, it felt like the world stopped for a second. This was Uncharted on the PlayStation 4, next-gen visuals, a new tone, and the promise of a final chapter. I remember watching that first teaser trailer, Drake waking up on a beach, older, bruised, and worn down, and I felt it. This wasn't just another treasure hunt, this was the end. The title said it outright, A Thief's End. We weren't just going on one last ride, we were diving headfirst into Drake's past, his regrets, and the weight of everything he'd run from. It looked darker, more grounded, and more personal than anything Naughty Dog had done with a series before, and I was all in. This felt like it was going to be the ultimate send-off, a character-driven, emotionally charged finale to one of gaming's most iconic stories, and when it finally dropped, that's exactly what it was.
Nate, this is retirement money for the both of us, okay? I don't know about you, but I don't want to be working salvage when I'm 60. Do you?
Sure beats prison. No. Listen, I have to pass. And trust me, so should you.
Okay, just take it with you. Humor me,
I'm
okay?
not gonna change my mind.
No, then don't hurt to sleep on it. Does it?
Say hi to Carla and the kids for me, okay?
All right. No pressure, Nate. But think about it.
The story of Uncharted 4 picks up years after Drake's last adventure. He's out of the game now, married to Elena, living a quiet domestic life. But that peace is shattered when his long-lost brother Sam, thought to be dead, suddenly reappears, dragging Nathan back into the hunt for Henry Avery's legendary pirate treasure. What follows is a journey that's both globetrotting and soul-searching. From the stormy prisons of Panama, to the lush hills of Scotland, to the crumbling pirate utopia of Libertalia, the game takes players through breathtaking environments and equally complex emotional territory. It wasn't about saving the world this time around. It was about loyalty, addiction to danger, the lies we tell to protect the people we love, and the cost of chasing legacy at all costs. Sam, Elena, Sully, they weren't just supporting characters anymore. They were mirrors, forcing Drake to confront who he really was beneath the charm and bravado. Every moment, every reveal, every quiet conversation and explosive set piece was building to something deeper. And when the credits rolled, it felt final, not because it was over, but because it had said everything it needed to say. It was a beautiful goodbye.
But I mean, come on, you have to at least just for 1 second consider the possibility.
See? Trust.
Just try to keep your tux clean.
Thanks.
From the moment I picked up the controller, I could tell Uncharted 4 was something special. Everything had been elevated. The gameplay felt sharper, tighter, and more deliberate. The new stealth elements, like hiding in tall grass and marking enemies, made encounters feel more strategic without losing the trademark Uncharted chaos. The grapple hook was a revelation, giving the traversal and combat a new verticality and flair, but nothing felt forced or gimmicky. Every mechanic had purpose. It was all refined, and more importantly, it felt earned. After 3 mainline games and a spin-off, Naughty Dog had found a way to reinvent without abandoning the core of what made Uncharted great. The pacing was immaculate, the set pieces were big and meaningful. The truck chase through Madagascar, the quiet attic scene where Drake reminisces, the sun-drenched epilogue that wraps it all up with grace. It was a masterclass in storytelling. And the ending is perfect. A rare, gentle, and satisfying farewell in a medium where most stories go out in a blaze of bullets. Sure, there were a few cutscenes I wish had made it into the final product, but as it stands, Uncharted 4 is about as close to perfect as a video game gets for me.
Just northeast of Kings Bay.
Hey, Rafe has a copy of this.
Yeah, well, by the time Rafe figures it out, we'll be well on our way to Libertalia. I'm telling you, that treasure is as good as ours. Shit.
How's the Malaysia job going, Nate? Seems like you're a hair off course.
The sound is just as amazing as the invisible thread that binds everything in Uncharted 4 together. The audio design of this game is nothing short of remarkable. Every footstep, every rustle of foliage, every distant gunshot or crash of thunder feels like it's exactly where it should be. The soundscape is layered with care, making every environment feel alive and immersive. But the real magic is in the voices.
Oh, scusi.
You're not supposed to be back here.
Well, neither are you. But I'll tell you what, I won't tell anyone if you don't.
You have something I want, and you're going to give it to me.
Really? Well, I'm flattered, but I'm afraid I'm spoken for. Oh, if you'll excuse me.
The performances in Uncharted 4 are world-class. Nolan North delivers his most nuanced portrayal of Nathan Drake to date. Charming and witty as always, but now with a weariness and maturity that's palpable. Troy Baker as Sam is pitch perfect, equal parts brotherly and reckless, as well as charming and manipulative. Emily Rose as Elena is the emotional anchor of the entire game. You feel her heartbreak, strength, and love. Every scene with her carries real weight. Richard McGonagall's Sully brings that familiar warmth and humor, but even he feels a little more grounded this time around. The chemistry between all of them is the story.
Just bring me back something shiny, will you?
Uncharted 4 is a deeply human tale, a story about betrayal, trust, and the echo of old habits repeating. It's about trying to walk away and the pull that keeps dragging you back. And the performances, delivered not just through lines of dialogue, but in subtle pauses, stammered responses, and raw, vulnerable silence, give it all the emotional punch it needs. You believe these characters, you root for them, you hurt with them. That's something only the best voice acting can accomplish. It's what turns a great game into a timeless one.
Now come on. Either we can finish this thing together, or we can just end it right here.
Let's go make history.
Atta girl. By all means.
Visually, it still stuns. To this day, it holds up against modern releases, both in raw fidelity and in the way it presents its world. The realism in its lighting, its animations, the subtle emotions on characters' faces, it's all incredibly grounded, and yet somehow still timeless. Even without the more colorful, stylized look of the earlier games, it keeps that Uncharted magic. I do wish there had been more unlockable extras, costumes, cheats, bonus content like in the older games, but where the single player left off, the multiplayer picked right up.
Outgoing! down! You disgust me!
Uncharted 4's multiplayer was a full-blown addiction. For me, it brought back the rush of Uncharted 2's online days, but bigger, faster, and even more refined. I found my squad, and we were locked in. We dominated match after match, climbing the ranks, laughing through absurd comebacks, and forming real synergy. It didn't even matter if we lost sometimes. I was having that much fun. I was completely immersed in unlocking new characters, experimenting with loadouts, and mixing up my outfits and mysticals. There was a depth to the strategy that made every match feel fresh. It was late nights turning into early mornings, a blur of adrenaline and celebration. It was that rare kind of multiplayer that didn't just ask for your time, it made you want to give it. And honestly, you can't ask for more than that.
Get out here! Hurry, damn you! Do not get up! I will allow you to bask in my glory, this time.
Looking back, Uncharted 4 felt like the culmination of something I'd been a part of for years. I'd grown up with Nathan Drake, followed him through every narrow escape and impossible treasure hunt, and by the time A Thief's End rolled around, I felt like I knew him, like we'd both lived through something together. This game wrapped up an era in gaming that meant a lot to me. It made me think about the cost of chasing adventure, about settling down, about growing older and letting go. And yet, it never lost the heart that made Uncharted what it is. It still made me laugh, still made me sit up during the wild set pieces, still made me care deeply about these characters. Even now, years later, I go back to it, sometimes to replay a chapter, and sometimes just to hear the music swell as I look over a cliffside. It still hits. It always will. Naughty Dog made a great send-off. They gave us a parting letter filled with love, nostalgia, and closure. And as hard as it was to say goodbye to Drake's story, I'm thankful it ended the way it did. It's rare to get something that meaningful in this medium. It was the perfect goodbye.
So, it's been a long, strange trip, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. You know, you should play the hero more often. Suits you.
Nah.
Uncharted: The Lost Legacy started as something small, literally. Originally planned as a story-based DLC for Uncharted 4, it was going to be part of the Season Pass content for players who had supported the game early on. I was one of them. I grabbed the Season Pass, expecting a few extra things for multiplayer or maybe a short side story. But as development went on, it became clear Naughty Dog had something more ambitious in mind. The project kept growing, bigger locations, deeper character work, more complex systems. Eventually, they scrapped the idea of it being just DLC and turned it into a full standalone release. And if you had the original Season Pass, you got the Lost Legacy for free. That was a rare move, respectful, generous, and deeply appreciated.
But I don't need any more so-called experts. Shoot them, throw their bodies in the river.
No need. We'll throw ourselves out.
The game itself was a fresh shift in the series. This time you're not playing as Drake, but as Chloe Fraser, fan-favorite master thief and one of the most charismatic characters in the Uncharted universe. Set after the events of Uncharted 4, The Lost Legacy follows Chloe as she journeys through India's Western Ghats in search of the legendary Tusk of Ganesh. She's joined by Nadine Ross, the hardened no-nonsense mercenary from Uncharted 4, and together they form one of the most unexpectedly compelling duos in the franchise. What starts as a typical treasure hunt slowly peels back the layers of both characters, exploring Chloe's roots, her grief, and her desire to carve out a legacy of her own. The chemistry between Chloe and Nadine, part rivalry, part reluctant friendship, part mutual respect, carries the story with surprising emotional weight.
You know, you're pretty good at this whole treasure hunting thing.
I'm a quick study.
One question, though. I reckon that you could pretty much do anything you want. Why are you so keen to get Shoreline back?
Seriously? My partner turns my own men against me. My lieutenant makes off with a bounty. Nathan and Samuel Drake get off scot-free, and you're asking why I want Shoreline back.
Yeah.
It was on my watch. I lost it on my watch.
Gameplay-wise, The Lost Legacy is peak Uncharted. Tight combat, wide-open exploration, and puzzle solving that never overstays its welcome. The open-ended chapter in the Western Ghats gives you the freedom to explore ancient ruins in any order, which felt like a bold step for the franchise. It didn't reinvent the formula, but it definitely experimented with it in a smart way. Visually, the game is still absolutely stunning, maybe even more so here. The jungle environments, the detailed temples, the lighting, it all felt right at home with Uncharted 4's high standards. Even the soundtrack, which leans into a more Indian and regional influences, gave it a fresh flavor without losing that sweeping Uncharted spirit.
Never knew what hit him.
As someone who had followed the series from the beginning, The Lost Legacy felt like a gift. It didn't need to exist, but it did, and it was beautiful. It gave closure to Chloe's arc, gave Nadine more depth, and proved that Uncharted could live beyond Nathan Drake. It was shorter, sure, but it was confident, stylish, and heartfelt. Another gem in a series full of them.
Right? Partner. Elbow.
You guys are hilarious.
And then, of course, there's the Uncharted movie from 2022. Starring Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Victor Sully Sullivan, the film had a long, winding journey to actually getting made. Fun fact, Mark Wahlberg was originally supposed to play Drake way back when the movie was first in development. But as the years passed and the production dragged on, he aged into the role of Sully instead, and Tom Holland stepped in as the new lead. It was a strange choice at first. Holland was everywhere at the time, fresh off his massive Spider-Man success. It felt like he was in every blockbuster. And yeah, him playing Nathan Drake definitely raised some eyebrows, especially for fans like me who've known and loved the character for years. But that said, I honestly enjoyed the overall package. As an Uncharted film, it delivered the globe-trotting treasure-hunting puzzle-solving energy that defines the series. Sure, it's not a perfect adaptation, and it's not exactly the Drake we know, but it had heart, spectacle, and a genuine sense of fun. It worked for what it was trying to be, and with Sony announcing in June of 2024 that a sequel is officially in the works, I'm excited to see how they evolve these characters and where the cinematic side of the Uncharted legacy goes next.
No, I don't care for over budget. I mean, do you realize that this could be like the biggest story of the year? Hi. No, I don't trust him, okay? That's why we need to move fast. So just get me the camera crew, and I promise you that... Son of a bitch. Hey! Should have seen that one coming. Ugh.
At the end of the day, Uncharted is one of my favorite game series, as well as one of the most important pieces of storytelling in gaming for me, period. There's something magical about the way it all comes together. The characters, the banter, the layered relationships. The stories blend real history with thrilling fiction, ancient myths with grounded emotion, and they do it all with such style. And of course, the actual gameplay, it's bliss. Every climb, every shootout, every last second escape, it's just ridiculously fun. But beyond that, Uncharted helped redefine what cinematic storytelling could look and feel like in an interactive form. It moved mountains, and you can see its influence everywhere in gaming now. Even inspiring Tomb Raider, its own inspiration, with the release of the Tomb Raider Survivor series from 2013 to 2018.
Okay, one last spin. Brazil.
Hey, now you're talking. All kinds of undiscovered places in the rainforest.
And all kinds of undiscovered tribes with poison darts.
Yeah, that too.
As for where it could go from here, I'd love to see the torch passed on. Cassie, Nathan and Elena's daughter, seems like the perfect next step. There's so much potential in exploring the legacy of these characters through new eyes in a new era, and I've had this fun idea for how to reveal the next game. It opens with you playing through a classic Uncharted dungeon as Cassie. Traps going off, high-stakes action, chatter over the radio with a female partner. It feels like we're in for a new-gen adventure until the twist hits. You make it to the rendezvous point, and your partner is a young Evelyn from Uncharted 4. That's when it clicks. You're not playing as Cassie Drake, you're playing as Cassandra, Nathan's mother in her youth. It starts out with its prequel event, but it also acts like a beautiful parallel. The same fire, the same drive, passed down through blood, and that could perfectly set the stage for Cassie Drake's own adventure in the modern day, bridging generations thematically and emotionally.
If you guys were into some shady stuff, it's totally cool. But I think I'm old enough to know about it, right?
Old enough. How old are you again?
Haha, funny. Mom?
Alright.
Whatever direction Naughty Dog chooses, if they ever return to this world, I'll be there. Besides Uncharted's treasure hunts and shootouts, the games are about family, history, legacy, and the adventures that shape us. And until we see that compass needle spin again, I'll hold on to the motto that's defined the heart of this journey since the beginning. Sic Parvis Magna.